Good morning, everyone, again, and welcome to Conquer the Clutter podcast for July the 2nd. I want to discuss today what I was reminded of, and then open the forum so that we can make this a practical day, something that you can experience, but you can benefit from moving forward. So, the last few weeks, we haven't had a podcast because I have been involved with my team in not the most profound, but a very profound effort to help someone avoid eviction. A lovely person, all right. Um, my most recent experience in that is that when you're having to face this, when you're having to deal with this, um, it's like being fast forwarded into the intensity and the intimacy of a person's life. All right. Now, I've had that experience many times, but this one was raw and vulnerable and that's what reminded me of just wanting to talk to you folks about what it's like to be on the other end of um, helping someone not lose their residency. And I was reminded that this kind of an urgent need is not an indicator of failure, because like all of us, all right, this person had overcome so many challenging, life-threatening events. In this person's case, it was the loss of a spouse. It was the loss of her health, overcoming cancer, aging, and then a fall where they broke a hip and couldn't return home. And when they needed something from their home, the person who went in, unfortunately, was on the condo board and then had a responsibility to report the conditions. So sometimes it's life-threatening, the challenges we have. Sometimes it's just life-changing, all right? But she was still standing, so hats off to the courage. I was also reminded that behind every single pile, there's a story. And more often than not, what people really need is someone, to clean and throw things out. All right. Their urgent need, your urgent need perhaps, is for someone to listen and to witness the truth of your vulnerability, their vulnerability, about how things got to this point. Know this: clutter is never just about physical stuff. Every item has a why question to it and a what to do about it. And it's important, no matter how you feel, how ready, how not ready, how capable, how incapable, to reflect on, and this was my refresher, the mindset of someone living with extreme clutter. And as you reflect, even before you interact with the person, even before you interact with yourself, all right, you need to do it, prepare yourself to do it in a gentle and respectful way. All right. So from previous experience, I knew immediately upon entering the condo that this wasn't just about trash. This wasn't about the inadequacy or the failure of anyone to do what was needed. It was about stories. It was about memories. And it was, in her case, and it often feels, I'm told by you folks, about survival. mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual survival. So today, I want to open this forum up and ask each and every one of you one question. What would be one question you needed to ask yourself to start on a healing and recovery process? Because you come here every week in search of that one small step. What is that one small step? Let's peel it back and have a look, no matter where you are in the process. All right. What is one small step that you have taken? Or if you're not there yet, that you are confident you're capable of taking, because we can only start with what we can do. We can't start and make a difference with what we don't feel we can do. And the do is to reclaim your space, peace, and dignity, because the erosion of those three things erodes your experience living in your own home. And if life has dealt you intensely challenging circumstances, perhaps it goes beyond your home, what you're feeling the loss of. But it always does involve your home, because wherever you go, there you are, in whatever current state of mind you are. It's also about your life, though, that these intensely challenging circumstances erode the presence you can show up for yourself. All right. And clutter, that feeling, that not readiness, that block creates a disruptor in the form of clutter. So let's reflect and discuss further. Okay. And I want, Nora is going to co-host today. So I want people to take a moment and reflect now. What is that one question you need to ask yourself? What is that one thing that maybe you haven't done, but you know, and it can be small, capable. It makes you capable of doing even the smallest first step progress, or continuing to take the next step if you've already started. So take a second, take out those pens and paper that I ask you to have ready, and let's spend just a few seconds thinking about what is that one next step. And then we're going to open the floor to hands up. And Nora's going to tell me who is next by first name only, Nora. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So I don't see any hands up. Let me have a look. Nora, do you see? DJ in the UK. All right, DJ. Do you want to unmute yourself?
Yeah, I think I have. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Right. Brilliant. I wrote a little post-it note on my wall, at least 5 years ago, and it just said, I'm better than this. And that's when my place was really uninhabitable. Most rooms were at an 8, and I had no heating, no cooking, no toilet facilities. And I've moved on from there. And now my question, what motivates me is, what would I prefer to be doing and where would I prefer to be, having had a bit of a taste of travel and holidays over the last few years?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is not in my hoarded home. That is far better than it was, but it's not where I want it to be yet.
Okay. Okay. So where would you like to be?
I want it to. I haven't yet got it to where I'm comfortable to invite um, people, except very special people. So
Mhm.
I need to work on the kitchen and yeah, mainly the kitchen and tidying up the bathroom, which has been refitted. The bathroom has been refitted, but there's been a lot of churning going on in the process. So I need to address the churning of stuff and get rid of stuff that hasn't been removed that I know I want to remove from the property.
Do you know, so the two areas that you're mentioning, kitchen, bathroom, are areas that there's intense activity of daily living that happens. So it's among the easiest, I think it is the easiest actually, that whatever progress you make is very quickly unprogressed
Oh
because
yeah,
of the intensity of the use of it. So
yeah.
yeah, so that raises a question, because those are areas that not just serendipitously end up being recluttered, but in the negotiation for the use of them that you make with yourself, all right, how you want to use it, what you want to do, what you want to follow through on, what would you say would be among the top three reasons that the churning happens?
Um, well, the churning happened because I didn't have the time. I'm telling myself really, I didn't have the time to be as meticulous as I wanted to be going through stuff that had to be moved out the way for when the bathroom was refitted and when the living room was sorted. I mean, I have had a brand new living room carpet fitted in the last 3 months, so that room obviously was completely empty,
Yeah.
and so I didn't. There were time scales that I couldn't keep to because I'm a perfectionist or have been a perfectionist in the
Mm,
past.
uh-huh.
Um, so that's one of the reasons. What was the question again? I've forgotten.
So what are the things that get in the way that cause the churning in the kitchen? And I'm wondering whether, um, sometimes we're so anxious to get things just right,
Absolutely.
that we can't maintain the just right. And sometimes I always say, look to the plan first, critique the plan, not the person first, as a first step. All right. Because if you deflate the person, the plan's not going anywhere. All right. You're stuck. So always look to critique the plan. Would you say in the kitchen that it's easy enough and logistically you can find the things you need and within 4 or 5 steps put them back? Because that's a key aid in the layout of what the devices are, that they are within easy reach and that they are within relatively easy return to the home space that they belong to.
Now you've been able to read my mind over 6,000 kilometers or 6,000 miles, because I was just going to say the issue is that I haven't yet um, um, instigated new systems, because the kitchen was a number 9 and it
Yeah.
had to be gutted,
No, for
and I haven't put it. I've got to start building it up from scratch. And what's held me back over the last year or so is perfectionism. I want the system to be
yes.
perfect, but it never will. So I've got really good support and help now, and I'm quite willing to accept that, and I'm moving forward.
So
And I recognize.
it's little things like, and I'll very humbly offer, I was, when I moved at one point in time, we moved, um, I was trying to set up the kitchen, all right, like, okay, what was going to go where, because everything felt strange. And I had my son's girlfriend say to me, it hadn't occurred to me. And she said, would you not put the glasses and the dishes in the cupboard above the dishwasher? And I went, huh? Yeah, never occurred to me. It's those kinds of logistical things that, so try to come at it from a practical point of view.
Yeah, yeah,
Not,
I understand.
and really, really police the perfectionism.
Yeah.
You can tweak it later when you live in it.
Yeah, but the problem is, and I recognise it, or has been that I have more stuff than I need, than I now want, and that I have space for.
That's
And
okay, because when you've determined
mm,
where the things are going to go, you
yes,
are limited by the space that is
yeah,
available.
yeah.
Because,
Otherwise, you end up
yeah,
with a hoarded kitchen again.
well, you won't though. You'll end up with chaos.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
So if you have a cupboard that is so big, you can only fit so many plates in there. You can only
yeah,
fit so many bowls in there. And that's their home space,
yeah.
not somewhere else. And so you create a kind of logistical limit. All right.
Absolutely.
And even in drawers, with tools and that kind of thing, when the drawers are full,
Yes,
they're full.
yeah. They are.
And yeah, and if you have to house things somewhere else to handle the surplus, you're adding a level of uncertainty and chaos that you won't be able to find it, because when you get to that space is going to belong to something else that
Absolutely.
that would
Yeah.
be. And so one of my assistants one time, brilliant girl, Heather, came up with, and I think it's genius, the way to figure out where things go. And that is, you hold the thing so you're in contact with it. All right. And you ask yourself, if I was looking for you, one thing, you handle one thing at a time. If I was looking for you, where would be the first place I would look for you? And we are unique individuals. That is its home space, because that is always where you're going to look for it first.
Yeah.
And then you're limited by the volume of space in that area.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay. Take care, Dave. Thanks for being brave enough to put your hand up first. Who's next?
I think Raylene had her hand up earlier.
Okay. Could we get, who is it now?
Raylene,
Raylene. Okay, Raylene. Hi.
I believe she is unmuting.
Unmute yourself.
Technical difficulties. It's okay. You can do it. It's the one that looks like a microphone.
From Natalie to everyone, what was the question? The question is, Natalie, while Raylene gets her computer behaving itself, that I'm asking, what is the one thing that in your heart of hearts, it doesn't have to be a big thing, it probably won't be a big thing, all right? What is the one thing that you know you can do? Setting aside all the barriers, all the things that mean you can't do it. There's always at that moment one small thing that you know you can do. What is it? Because you can't move forward based on the can'ts. You can only move forward based on the cans. Okay? And sometimes they're small, but small creates motion. Okay.
Yeah,
Raylene, have you solved the problem?
yes, I did. Yeah,
Okay.
I find acknowledgement of what I've done is a huge factor. And just have making sure that whether somebody else or not can see what I've done, me knowing that I've accomplished that 3 foot square space
Yeah. No.
is starting to be enough for me. And just and just tackling it one bite at a time, like how do you need an elephant?
Yep.
Yeah.
One bite at a time. Oh dear, oh, the elements, yeah. Okay, that is great. So working from the cans
Yeah,
and taking no matter, so Dave, no matter how small the can is, and that's not metal can, that's can do. All right, no matter how small it is, don't let that perfectionistic nag that you were taught to be, don't let that take over, and minimize the fact that that is more than you had before. And when you build on that tiny step by tiny step, that's how you get a home that you can have the life you want in it.
yeah, I had to drop that, I'm a perfectionist to the point of frustration and then to hell with it. I'm taking over the, it's good enough.
Yep,
If I've worked on it for a while, it's good enough and I'll move on to something else.
absolutely. Because you know what? Life isn't going to end the day you get the last thing in place.
Mhm.
You can always tweak it. And maybe you want to live a little differently. Maybe you want that space for something else. Life goes on. And so does the vision. So does our vision. All right. You should see this office of mine. It's revisioned. All right. And yeah, because I had a really great plan. I had a wall bookcase. And then I realized, what I really need in here is I need a desk for Hafsa. And it can't be in front of the bookcase. Because Hafsa and I work serendipitously, we work better when we're in the moment exchanging ideas. All right. And my whiteboard has been a genius move. Unfortunately, it's a little inconvenient to move around, so it has to share the space with the Conquer the Clutter poster behind me. So we had to work that logistic, but that works a whole lot better for how we live in the space day to day. All right. Okay. Anybody else? We got 7 people in the chat. Are any of them with their hands up? We have a look.
Kimberly has her hand up.
Okay, Kim.
I'll go. I made a therapy appointment and went yesterday. That was great. It's been a hot minute since I've gone. But the other thing that I did was signed up for a community garage sale, which
Oh,
I don't know if you made this joke, but somebody said, if you want to say hi to your neighbors and have that, sign up for a lawn sale because you're not going to make a ton of money, which is usually the case. All the neighbors come visit, we chit chat, all those good things, but I usually get rid of at least some stuff. So my goal is to get rid of the big stuff. I have 2 weeks and then I'm going to put out a free pile, which I did a couple weeks ago, and I got rid of a ton of stuff for free. So that means I don't have to bring it to donation. That means I don't have to load it up in my tiny little car. So all of these things are going to help me. So my goal for the next 2 weeks is to just work on looking around for the big stuff. And I put a little question in my AI thing that I created the other day. And I said, how can I use my RAS to help me, my reticular activating system, whatever that thing's called, to help me find items for the garage sale? And it said, gave me this whole prompt on, just asking every morning, what don't I need anymore? What don't I use? How can I make my space, better for me in this moment? All these little cues that will help me that I'm going to look at every morning and take 20 minutes before I go to work to buzz around a room and say, what don't I need anymore? So
mhm, mhm.
that's what I'm going to be working on for the next couple weeks. And I will let y'all know how I make out.
Good. The one thing I would add to that, always consider there are many ideas, right? That we that you are not putting out, that the idea does not involve more energy and time than you have. to spare. All
That's
right.
why I usually don't do these things.
That's right, because when you go for the bigger, it can sound like a very small idea. How much steam do you have in the tank? And at the end, you remember 3 things have to happen every day: joy, fun, and play. You have to remind yourself that you are a growing, learning, developing human being. And then you have to do the part that nobody wants to do, and that's the work. All right. So when you're making a plan and choosing what the activity is going to, what the answer might be today, you've got to leave time and space for the other 2,
Yes.
fun and play, learning, growing, develop, because that's your STEAM, people. All right.
That's one of my main conversations in my therapy appointment yesterday was learning about that at age like 50.
Yeah.
Because I used to take like an hour a week to do stuff for me, and I thought that was selfish. And I realized that is
Self-sustaining is what
not,
it is.
it's not right at all. And I learned how to say no to things, and I'm learning how to spend more time on myself so that I do have the energy to do those things, just like you said. But that was probably one of the main topics from my therapy appointment yesterday. And this morning, you probably can't see it. I haven't posted it in our group yet, but I made these flower arrangements with a little flower frog that are all Japanese inspired. I brought
Yeah.
one into work. It's in the kitchen for everybody to see here. I have one in my office. So that's my me time
Joy, fun,
this
and play.
morning
Yeah.
to recharge and, be
And
creative.
keep them in balance.
Yep.
Okay. Joy, fun, and play. You don't, it's not a runaway horse. Okay. Learning, growing, developing human being is not a life's work. All right. The work is not something that says you're not allowed to do anything that sustains you until you finish me. All right. It's about the balance. It's about the balance. All right. And that's what will
Yes.
keep you energized and steady mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Thank you for teaching me that lesson. I didn't know it before you. So I appreciate everything you help us with. Thank you.
Well, that's that's what comes with 77 years of bumping your head and learning a lot about hoarding over the last 24 and meeting a lot of people and being willing to learn from the people you work with. All right. Because they're the ones who know the truth. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And good luck with that.
Thank you.
Okay. B has her hand raised. Okay, B.
Hi. Thank you. And yes, inspirational contributions. And I second what Kimberly had to say about how wonderful it is that we have this and have this from you, Elaine. And yeah, it's just great that you give your time so generously. So I would like to really concentrate on the clutter in my head at the moment. And this is around my stresses, but also other people's stresses. So I would like to know, I am planning to, nope, I am going to carve out some time. I'm thinking 24 hours away from home and away from my phone, where I can just recharge my batteries.
Yep.
So that
And not think, okay? And not think of the stresses.
Yeah,
Not
I've
the
got
24 hours you're going to devote to intensely try to solve them.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Good
And they will crop up. You know
Yeah.
what I do? Because I always have like 100 balls in the air. What I do is and it's just a suggestion. Okay, this isn't like
Yeah.
the answer. When that happens to me, I say this is not the time. This is not the time. I hear you. This is not the time.
Mm.
This This is not this moment's job. This time belongs to here. Just as if I was trying to get, I don't know, the child in me, you know, who has 100 things going on at once. And you can't keep all those balls in the air. And
Yes.
they will empty you.
Yes.
And then you'll be cut. Now, on all the stresses you're talking about, another strategy that I use, given what I've shared with you folks, is I take a piece of paper, all right, just a small one, like maybe this, all right, and I write down the top 10 stressors, all right, and then I look at them and I ask them, the papers, I say, okay, so you can't all happen at once. And frankly, you're flooding my brain right now, which means that I'm not going to make my best decisions. So, and this has become very useful in my current circumstance right now. And I say, okay, who's first? And I decide. And I put them in order. I externalize the message so that I don't have to keep it here. And then I put them in order of doability, or if there is a legitimate, we're talking legitimate, urgent need that that thing be first. All right. And then I break it down into what are my steps for you? What are my steps? And I tick each of the steps as it's done. And then the others are still waiting there. That's okay. These two hands can only do one thing at a time. All right. Try it. Try to externalize whatever the stresses are, particularly, and stressors caused by other people. I can relate to that. But they still are stressors, and you still can't do 2 or 3 things at once. All right. And generally, when they become stressors in our life, they're not one-step wonders where
Yes.
one
Yes.
step is going to solve it. All right.
Yeah.
So that's where that step by step by step thing. And
Yeah.
it's not minutia. It's not a lot of detail. It's just the macro message for each of those things. All right.
Yes.
And then the other thing that happens too is sometimes when you're trying to move those forward a bit or deal with, prioritize, because they're all screaming at you. They wouldn't be stressors if they weren't all screaming at you. Okay.
Yes.
And so you say, okay, I'm this far on that one. I'm this far on that one. I'm this far on that one. And I don't then put priority, time, and energy into something that comes into my mind that is the 6th in line. If I've got a little bit of not rest and recuperate time, I go back to number 1 and I see, is there any opportunity to move you forward? And you don't have to carry it in your mind. And as soon as it starts coming to your mind, you talk to yourself and you say, this is not your time. This is not the time for this. This is the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Direct message. Okay. Anybody else?
Whoops.
Yes. B is,
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Nora, do you see anybody else?
I don't. Wendy is writing in the chat. I'm not sure if she wants to actually speak or,
Okay, let's look at the chat then.
okay. Starts with question mark Elaine. I have all good intentions.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Did she say this to everybody or just me?
Everybody, I
Okay.
think,
Then I have all.
because I see it too.
First, okay, so Wendy says I have all good intentions when I'm to get going with my cleanup, meaning first step is to get rid of things like recycle. Although that is when the anxiety builds, of course, because you're making decisions that will be final. That's why. That's not you. That is not a deficit in you. That's a you coming up with where the barrier is. All right. Although that it's when the anxiety builds up as I dread the process, as I check and check things over and over before I can let anything go, out to the point it is debilitating as it's so slow and very little gets accomplished. I end up being like a squirrel that everything gets sorted in piles, and on a list of tasks to do, very little actually gets accomplished. Okay, Wendy, do you want to speak to this? And when you're talking about making the first step the cleanup, don't make the first step the cleanup. If your safety corridor is intact, in case of an emergency, you could get out, like really get out. We're not talking manage going over things now. We're talking free, clear path. And first responders could get in, and you are not creating a legitimate immediate fire hazard, all right, with combustible materials in the wrong place. Don't start by cleaning up, right? Start with the sorting, but know this, when you start with the sorting, is going to look a whole lot worse than it did when it was wherever it was. So see if you can find one space, and no matter how big or small that space is, that is your limit. Otherwise, what you'll be doing is you will be overwhelming yourself visually, all right? If you try to do a major sorting in a very small staging area. Pick the highest priority. And what would the highest priority be? It could be a few things. It could be a few different categories. It could be those things that, of my heart of hearts, I know I just haven't gotten around to, and really I haven't used them. I'm no plans to use them. And maybe I've got multiples of them. All right. That's one way. Another way would be, what are the things that are in my way? I have outgrown them, outused them. I know for sure. It's not a matter of it being one type of thing. It's a matter of I go through and I select wherever they are. When was the last time you gave me something? When was the last time you were something I needed? All right. And if it's one of those things that, potentially every so often you'll need, and you don't really have the space for it, it's a perfectly okay idea to offer it to someone you know well who may also benefit from it, and you can borrow it back if you need it. So the two of you kind of have a share ownership of the thing. All right. That is a good thing to do with equipment. Clothing. I have been in remediation, is what I call it, in environments where I am not exaggerating. There was 400 pounds of clothing. All right. Can you guarantee that in that bulk of clothing, the things that need cleaning would be the things that should go, and you deal with the clean stuff and put that away, and that should be enough. It's not for an outside person to decide that. Maybe they need cleaning because the person uses them all the time. They're actually the favorites.
Mhm.
So ask yourself, you already know the answer to that. The other thing to ask yourself at all times is, even if you are helpful, even if you are useful to me, how many of you do I need? We are not getting an extension on our lifespan, all right, to finish, deal with, and enjoy it would be a good idea in the future. And know this, that so long as we're still breathing, good things are going to happen in the future, that we are not going to want to be committed to ideas we had in the past. And those things will stay there. So you give yourself a time frame. You know, in the books, in the magazines, you hear 6 months, a year. That's just some person's idea. You tell yourself, what is the reasonable time frame for I haven't used you, all right? I do that regularly. Sarah and I went downstairs a few weeks ago and we went through the whole basement on when was the last time you were useful and when is it likely you'll be useful again? And if I didn't have you, what would I use instead? How urgent would that need actually be? I don't have to have all bases covered. There has never been a day in my life when I've had all bases covered. Why would that even be a goal? If I have a need and I don't have it, guess what? Somebody has it somewhere. I can borrow it, I can buy it, I can rent it, I can do a lot of stuff. And then I don't have to find a space for you. All right, it's not the worst that you rent something. All right, we're renting a rollator right now for Michael because he wanted to try it out. And okay, so don't struggle with what the priority is for something. It's just a thing. You'll know it if you really, really need it. And you know how you'll know that? Because probably every week, at least every week, you're using the thing. And how many of each thing? I went through the junk drawer a little while ago. All right. And it's called a junk drawer for a reason. It's that bottom drawer in the kitchen. You know the lineup of those 4 drawers. The bottom one's always bigger. There's a reason. It's a junk drawer. And I went through and I took everything out and I took out about 4 different sizes of Glad storage bags, the freezer bags. And I looked at what we had, what we needed. Was this actually the space for it? Or did somebody just take a shortcut, drop it in the bottom drawer? All right.
Mm.
And I harmonized by category. And if it didn't fit in, if the collection of that did not fit in the appropriate size Glad bag, I had enough. I let Glad decide. All right. I let Glad decide. If I have a Glad storage bag this big and these are not hammers, chances are I have enough in there. All right. And if I don't, what's the worst that's going to happen, really? It's not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on the space. You can't have everything.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
And I apologize, I'm not on camera. It's just
No,
it's a
that's okay. Not to
disaster
worry.
here
Not to
today.
worry. Not to worry.
I really appreciate your professional input, by the way. It's
Happy to
important you
do it.
know that.
Happy to do
And
it.
I struggle. The first thing is the thoughts that, a bit of perfectionism. Yes, they say I have OCD because of all this checking and making sure everything's okay. And it's everything though. It's just not the hammer or the junk drawer. It's the recycle. You know, over the years, I have to go to the beer store, return empty wine bottles. It's leaf compost bags. It's old clothes. It's just papers, legal documents. It's everything. And I'm my own worst enemy because as I wrote, I get overwhelmed with the thought of approaching it. And they say that you must not defer all of the work if you're struggling with anxieties and OCD. You must methodically work through it. You can't just lean on someone else that they do it. You have to work through it. But I just get so overwhelmed. And because I can't just glance and pitch bags and pitch it. I have to make sure that I haven't made a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let me tell you something, Wendy. All right, and this is, I believe, true for all of us, you, me, and everybody else. We're going to make mistakes. If you can accept, and then we're not talking once you make a mistake, it's okay, nothing counts. We can make mistakes on everything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you can humble yourself, all right, enough for yourself in your own judgment, that, you know what, I am going to make mistakes. I'm going to try my best not to, but there are going to be mistakes. And why is that happening? Because mistakes are unavoidable. We cannot possibly know. If you could accept one thing, Wendy, it is not reasonable for you or me or anybody else to expect that you can see into the future. All right. I have gotten rid of things when in 2 weeks, for the first time in the history of mankind, I needed them.
We all have.
Hello, I'm human. I'm human. And did it feel good? No, for the moment it felt like,
So annoying.
really? What's the chance of that? Well, the chance of that is human. All right. I'm still standing. There's nothing terrible that happens. There's nothing terrible that happens when you make those kinds of mistakes. It is right that, particularly if you have we all have additional challenges. Nobody gets into this world or out of this world without having a burden to carry. All right, nobody. So if you do have some level of OCD, factor it in. How much of the decision and the time and energy you have, are you going to let that one part of yourself rule the roost? Why does that one part of yourself, when there are many other parts of you that are trying, why would you let that one part of yourself rule the roost and basically make the rules for everybody else? Don't. It's just one part of yourself. For that reason, though, yeah, I think you do need to reflect. Please don't just take things and pell-mell throw them out, particularly if you struggle with that what if, and the what if is a big voice in you. All right. What I would suggest you do is externalize it. Now this is so you can learn how to do it. It probably isn't reasonable for you to try when you're starting out to do it meticulously every single time with every single question. But brainstorm. But brainstorm in a way that you externalize it. That's why I love this whiteboard. All right. Or you could use a chalkboard. And even if you don't have a chalkboard, you can get chalkboard paint. Take the back of a door somewhere that heads somewhere nobody wants to go and paint it with the chalkboard paint and use it as a chalkboard when you're making a decision and just brainstorm. Okay, here are the positives that this thing offers, why it would be useful, helpful, and possibly the right decision to keep it. Here are the negatives. I have 10 of them, and probably whatever, all right? And then the bottom part is, and when was the last time it does add something to my life? It did actually add something to my life. And on the other side, when is the likelihood that that event is going to happen again? And the answer to that is always, I don't know. And then the bottom line is, what would be the worst that would happen if I didn't have this thing? All right. What would be the worst that would happen if I didn't have this thing?
So could I ask a quick question? For
Yeah.
example, I know that bag of recycle that I just willy-nilly chucked everything in now because I have to do it carefully. I have to go through that bag one by one and rebag it because I did it so willy-nilly in the first place. And I may have an important post-it note with a phone number on or something attached. I don't care about that recycle, but I get worried about wasn't carefully done. Now I have to do it slowly and carefully because there could be something of importance with it. So
There could be. There
you're
could
saying
be.
you're saying then you recognize the recycle is not important, but work through and I'm trying to speed up it. I get very anxious, but it could be that I lose a post-it note, no matter how perfectly I try to do it.
Yep. It could get stuck to the back end of something and you don't even see it.
So
You're
if I have that panic, that's where I should go to the board and say, what's the worst thing that post-it note was in that huge bag of recycle?
Absolutely. And the other thing to ask yourself, there is, I'm going to say this in a hyper generality, all right, generalization. There is nothing, almost nothing, that is the only thing of its type. That phone number is somewhere else. That person can be found other ways. That service can be that you have the phone number on one paper, one place. That phone number exists. All right. I found a friend that I haven't seen in 50 years. I did mention my birthday was the 1st of July. So I'm accruing years here. Literally 50 years. All right. I found them. I had no idea where they were. But what I did was I worked it out on Canada 411. I was wondering how they were. They came to mind. I thought I would be great. It would be great. And I went on Canada 411. I put in the specifics that I knew. It gave me a narrower margin of 4 to 6 people. I kind of researched a little bit what this was for fun. All right. That phone number, whatever that information is, it exists somewhere else. It does exist somewhere else. What you need to work on there, though, is fighting the panic. What do you need to do to give yourself permission to be less than perfect? What do you need to do? You need to get out of your own way. All right? It's a part of you that is demanding that you do something all the time that is beyond what most people do anytime. A level of precision. Doesn't mean you're going to the other extreme. It means what would be the worst thing that would happen and where else could I get that information? You got that information, what was it, in a phone call, an email, all right? Where did you get that phone number? Well, they gave it to me. Okay, but where are they? What are the specifics? There's almost no information. Your passport might be not a good thing to let be in a recycle bin. It exists somewhere else. It's not the only place.
Yes, I appreciate that. And I know we're running out of time, but an ex relationship came home one day and just I lost in bags, jewelry, photographs, banking, everything. And this sticks with me because of my
Of course
worry.
it does. Of course it does.
And
When those kinds of things happen, they do prompt a panic, because what they do is they verify. First of all, nobody else makes the decision. Nobody else comes home and takes a bag of something and just pell-mell throws it. All right. Now, we've all had that happen. We've all had that happen where somebody thought they were helping you and they took everything out, and before you knew it, that was the good pile. I'm still standing. I'm still standing.
and that's where it comes to trust. And
Mhm.
even hiring a service such as yourself, how can I be positively sure they're going to be so careful? And yet the burden falls back on me because I've lost trust in others for help. So
The
I
big-
get more buried in it.
The biggest indicator, all right, is humility. If you're getting help from somebody, I don't care how professional they are, I don't care how accredited they are, all right, they're humble, all right. They know they don't have the answer for other people. And they make a commitment to you that you are the one who makes the decisions. They are the people who help you process it. That's it. As soon as you have somebody coming in, I'm sorry, I do have to run in a minute because I've had to stack counseling sessions today. As soon as they come in, you make it clear to them, you're the one that makes the decision. If they come in and they start telling you what you can and should do, and you haven't asked them a question about it, that's an indicator. Okay,
Thank you, Elaine. And a happy birthday.
thank you. Yeah, too
And
bad you have to get a year older to get that. A happy birthday for what?
Can you do it? Yes, you can. Yes, you can.